say?
If you guys knew the trouble just went through trying to get this camera set up.
So we're woodworkers, not AV specialists.
No, my God. This thing's a nightmare. For those of you listening, you have no idea, but we have quite often technical difficulties on the camera.
Oh, yeah.
It's a whole nother language of stuff that I just know nothing about, so working on it.
Is this really episode 20?
Yeah, believe it or not.
Wow. Episode 20 of the American Craftsman Podcast.
Yeah, just two guys talking about wood. Woodworking.
We talk about wood sometimes.
Yeah. Might talk about wood today.
That's right.
Well, let's not spare any time, not waste any time, rather, I should say, because I need a drink now after that aggravation.
We're going to go right to the beer of the week. And sticking with our new tradition, we're going with the big bottle where we're going to share a glass.
That's a cool looking bottle.
Yeah, I saw this. Pipeworks, any other name. And you may have heard this. I didn't even know what this was. Saison brewed with roses. Would a rose saison by any other name smell and taste as sweet as that which we call any other name? Maybe. Enough. This isn't Shakespeare. I'm reading this right from the label. Too bad puns already. This saison was brewed with love, rose hips, rose petals, and lemony hops. Its true essence is light, fresh, and floral. Stop. Read before opening. This beer is unfiltered. Sedimentation may occur. For best flavor, allow bottle to chill for 2 hours, etc., etc., allowing for the natural yeast to settle out. Pour slowly into your favorite glass, leaving sediment behind. So,
interesting.
This is a first for us.
Whereabout is the, does it say Illinois?
Yeah, Chicago.
Uh-oh.
We got a spill.
Let me get some of those terrible paper towels.
Yeah, and I'll pour this out. Wow, it is pretty fragrant right off the bat.
I do like a saison.
I don't know if I've ever had one.
Nice straw yellow color.
Yeah.
Oh.
Check it out.
Maybe not straw yellow.
Yeah, it's pretty golden. Make sure we don't get any of that sediment in that.
Yeah, I'm not afraid of any sediment.
Yeah, me either, really, tell you the truth. Seems to be pretty clear. Getting a good 2 glasses out of this.
Yeah.
Oh, that's yours. We've hit sediment.
Hit rock bottom.
All right.
Smells good. Cheers. Cheers to you guys.
Yeah. Wow. That's different.
Yeah. I can't say I can even like put my finger on like the smell of a rose because I'm not really out smelling flowers very often.
I don't smell. Smell isn't my strongest of senses, but it doesn't have an overly floral scent. I wouldn't say that.
More bitter than I was expecting, and not as cold as I was expecting it to be.
No,
they must have just gotten it in.
Yeah. Pretty good.
Yeah.
It is light.
Yeah. Pipeworks.
Yeah. Yeah, well, so we ventured out of the area for this one. From the Midwest, Chicago.
Yeah.
Pipeworks Brewing Company. Label artwork by Eric Lundquist. So, there you go.
Well, that brings us to the tool of the week.
Yeah.
I had the honor this week. This is a little something I actually got in yesterday.
It was yesterday or the day before. I mean,
Yeah.
the days just fly by around here.
Especially Wednesdays. Wednesdays are quick.
Yeah.
So this is something that I've been meaning to pick up for a long time. I've always wanted to try them out. I see them in the catalogs and online and all over the place. So I finally grabbed a little 3-pack, like the sample pack. These are the Sandflex sanding blocks from Klingspor. So this is actually, there's 3 in this pack that I bought, and I think these are smaller than the...
I was going to ask you if the sample was a little bit smaller.
Yeah, I was expecting them to be the size of like a drywall sponge.
Yeah,
like maybe 1 inch by 3 by 4 or something like that. These are about 5/8 of an inch by 2 inches by 3 inches.
It's like the motel soap.
Yeah, a little bit bigger. So this comes with a coarse, medium, and a fine. It's just a block of rubber with grit impregnated into it, all the way through. So you can. What I used it for is with the steam rig, we got some water on the cast iron, and I took the medium one and then the fine one and just buffed it out real quick.
Yeah, it really polished it up nice.
And that was with minimal elbow grease. Like I just did it to kind of see what the deal was. I took a couple spots off of the saw stop because, this is a working shop. Stuff gets on the cast iron. It's This isn't a show.
Not a TV studio.
Yeah, no, it's not a showroom. I used it today to take some like surface rust off of the sole of my shoulder plane.
Mine's got a little on there too.
Yeah, it's just a good thing to have around.
Yeah, I think so.
You don't really want to use like regular sandpaper on that kind of stuff.
No.
It's not ideal. So something I wanted to try out. I really like it so far. Maybe it doesn't have my 100% seal of approval yet because I've only been using it for a day, but I thought it was definitely worth checking out. The course I'd say is maybe like 180.
It looks rough from here.
It feels rough. It doesn't feel rough. It like looks rough, and the little rubber pieces that come off like seem big, but the grit that's inside of it is actually pretty fine. If you feel it, it's pretty fine. The medium I'd say is
because if you rub your finger on it, we have
you don't
calluses,
feel it. Yeah, the medium's maybe like a 320, and the fine has got to be higher than 600, I'd say. That almost feels smooth.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah, that almost feels like an eraser.
So it says on it, popular uses include clean rust from tools and unfinished metals, remove rust from outdoor equipment, clean stainless steel sinks, pots, and pans, restore nap to suede. Huh.
We've been spending too much time together.
Clean electrical contacts, remove mineral deposits from ceramic tile and toilets, clean tires and rubber products. Simply use the block like an eraser, rubbing firmly on the surface. Can be used wet or dry. Choose from 3 grits, coarse, medium, or fine. Not recommended for plated or painted surfaces. Test on inconspicuous area before use. Non-toxic.
Yeah.
Then it says in like a little explosion bubble, it's a solid block of grit.
Yeah, yeah.
Made by Klingspor. Made in Germany.
Well, I like it.
Yeah.
I like it.
$15 for these 3 little things. I figured worth a shot.
Yeah, we'll get a use out of them for sure.
You know what these are probably good for? I took the gum rubber, those gum rubber things for cleaning sandpaper. Mm-hmm. I took that to the grit blocks because I noticed that the little nubs had gotten all dusty.
Saw you there.
And it really helped. But I bet this couple swipes over that will clean all the dust out of those and it won't be.
Yeah. I'm gonna borrow those when I have a minute of time, clean off my planes, because they do get a little bit. We live in the Northeast.
Yeah.
Even though we have a conditioned shop.
I'm not the best at, after I sharpen my stuff, to like dry it off 100%, put a coat of oil on it. So sometimes
because we're working.
Yeah, like the top of your chisel will get rust on it.
Yeah.
Which, in the long run is not good. It's not really like an immediate problem where it's like, man, I got to get this rust off right now. But, you want to keep your tools nice.
Yeah. When they start getting spotty, they don't look as nice.
Yeah. So check it out. Maybe I'll take it to my Yeti coffee cup over there.
Yeah.
That thing's been through some shit.
The true test.
Yeah.
Clean that.
Yeah. But check it out. Samflex hand block cleaning and polishing. We'll have a link down in the description as always.
Yeah. You know where that brings us?
Where's that?
Gripe of the week. Gonna take a little diversion this week. I was talking to Jeff. I was like, it's only 20 weeks in, and I'm running out of petty gripes. And this week I think I just need a break because life is good.
Yeah.
I don't even have anything petty to gripe about this week. How's that?
It'd have to be extra petty.
No, in all seriousness, there's a lot going on out there. Everybody knows we have the coronavirus and everything else that goes with it. But we're doing all right for ourselves.
Oh, yeah.
We live here, we work here, and I'm feeling pretty good. I know Jeff is. I could speak for him. We spend enough time together.
Yeah. It's looking like it's shaping up to be a good year.
Yeah, yeah. So no gripe this week.
Yeah, we're going to count our blessings this week.
There you go. And I see a lot of questions.
Oh yeah, we got a 3-pager today.
Oh man,
we don't usually have that many. We're trying to get started early, but these camera issues. We need to get somebody in here to teach me how to set up that camera. Really, a full 2 pages. The last page is kind of doesn't really have anything on it. But so we're gonna start off the show with a joke from our buddy Dave. DW's remodeling on Instagram. I'm actually wearing Dave's shirt today.
Yeah, I had mine on yesterday.
I think I had my Blake Woodward shirt on yesterday.
Yeah.
So Dave wants to know, what's your exercise routine?
Well, Dave, I tell you, I start each work day off with a brisk walk.
How long a walk is it?
The back door we can see from right here. I'm going to say it's a good 30 feet. It involves 5 steps. And then I'm into the shop. I sit down with my cup of coffee, and we start the workday. Usually, we have a short meeting. So, and then I like to end the day the same way with that
long walk,
that brisk walk, 5 steps back up into the house.
Oh, I'm getting Instagram messages on the price of cherry in Michigan.
It definitely can't beat what we're getting here.
No way.
Yeah. O'Shea we just
Select and Better. They're getting $1 more than what we're paying for FAS.
Wow. Yeah. We spent half a day yesterday and half a day today jointing and planing.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. So over here off camera is an entire, 100 plus board feet of cherry. That's down to an inch plus a 64th. We'll run it through the, I always want to call it a wide belt sander. I wish it was. Through the double drum sander, and then we'll have it down to an inch.
Yeah. Yeah, and be more or less ready to start making parts. We'll have to joint an edge too, but.
Yeah. Yeah, I always, we have some questions about this, so maybe I won't talk about it, but, so yeah, that's a pretty stringent exercise routine.
Can you top that?
Well, my exercise consists of carrying boards into the shop from the woodshed, joining, hand planing, sanding. That's about it.
Yeah.
Of course, I should do more, but...
Yeah, I was thinking that maybe, once it warms up, we might get out on our bicycles or something like that. The Henry Hudson Trail's right here.
Yeah.
You might even start riding your bike to work.
Maybe. Speak for yourself.
What is it, about 2 miles?
Yeah.
It's a good little ride. The first thing in the morning, though, you're really just not in the mood.
No, and
then the last thing of the day.
Yeah. And then maybe it's going to rain or... believe me, I would love to have the time to, and I know this is always like a thing where it's like everybody's got time to do anything, but I do a lot of work in the morning. Like I wake up at 5, I sit down with my coffee, I'll get on the computer, I'm writing emails, drawing on Fusion, writing up proposals, editing videos, whatever. So it's like I'm going to carve out an hour of that to go exercise.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not a morning person by any stretch, so I wouldn't enjoy it. And at this point in life, as long as I can maintain, semblance of health. I mean, I did bike. I was a pretty avid bicyclist for a while. But it's been, wow. I mean, I don't even know how many years. I want to say it might be 6 or 7 years now since I last rode my bike. But I did ride from here down to Chincoteague, Virginia and back in 4 days. That was 400 miles. So that was a pretty good ride.
Yeah.
So I have the ability, just don't have the drive.
Yeah.
I don't have the drive anymore to do that.
Yeah, probably about 8 years ago, I did 15 miles every morning on my bike.
Yeah.
My bike was a 2-speed.
Yeah. Well, plus you have bad knees. I have bad knees.
I start physical therapy on Monday.
I'm wearing these sleeves because I was told. It manifests itself in my elbows, like right at the joint, but I was told it's part of the bicep tendon, that's where it hooks on. And that's what gets strained. So
that's like I've been having some neck pain. Oh my God, we sound like we're falling apart. I'm having some neck pain. I think
life is still good.
It's from working on the computer and editing the last. It started when I edited that first YouTube video, which takes a while, even for like a 20-minute long video. But my wife thinks it's originating in my shoulder blade.
Yeah.
So like one of the muscles under there is pulling something. Yeah. But who knows? We're not going to pretend we're doctors.
No. So we don't really exercise. I mean, the job is physical. We don't get any cardio really here.
No.
But we are moving and, joining, planing, all that stuff is pretty physical work.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So thanks for your concern, Dave.
It's like I'm talking to my doctor. Like, yeah, I know I should be doing something, but I'm not. I promise next year.
Next year, you'll have to send us new shirts. They'll all have to be a size bigger.
Oh, God, please, no. Hopefully not.
All right. You want to read the second question?
Yeah, here's our next one. So this is building on what we were talking about last week a little bit. Building on your, quote, buy one chisel / plane at a time, end quote, philosophy from last week. What size and type of chisel and plane would you buy first, and in what order would you buy the rest? From Alan S. He's Al About It on Instagram.
Yeah, well.
What do you think? I guess he's asking like sizes.
Yeah.
Size of chisel and, size and type of plane.
Yeah. If I would start with one chisel, I would probably start with like a mortise style so that, because I like that where you can get into the corners and stuff like that. I like the long blade on it. I like that. And maybe something 3/8 or 1/2 inch, small enough to get inside some of those mortises and clean them out. And, for bigger cuts, you're just going to have to make do. You'll have to multiple passes. So I guess we'll talk about chisels and then we'll go to plane. Yeah.
I'm going to say a 3/4 inch beveled edge chisel.
Okay.
Like your standard beveled edge chisel with, make sure it has really fine bevels so that you can not get in square to a corner, but get in tight to a corner, like in a dovetail, for example, when you're clearing out the, between the tails. You need something that can get very tight into a very acute corner.
Yeah.
I think 3/4 inch is a good general size because you have enough reference surface, but it's not too big where it's going to be.
Yeah, that's the thing. I mean, if you've ever tried to chisel in a straight line with a small chisel, it can wind up looking like, a snake.
I find that as a finished carpenter, 3/4 inch was the chisel I always reached for, and now my 5/8 is actually what I reach for most.
Yeah.
So I'd say somewhere in that range, anywhere between a 1/2 inch and 3/4.
Yeah.
And I mean, I like the Lee Nielsen's. I've had a bunch of different kinds of chisels. Those are the only like high end chisels I've had. Had the Stanley 750s and a bunch of other junky kind of stuff. I think the bang for the buck is
can't beat it.
Yeah,
can't beat it.
That's $50 well spent.
It's a lifetime tool. We say it all the time.
Yeah.
And you'll wind up learning another skill because you learn to keep them sharp.
Yeah.
It's not a disposable item like maybe a...
Which we have a question about that today.
Oh. Well, what do you know? And what about planes? You're going to go with your old standby?
Yeah, I'm going to say start out with a block plane, a low-angle block plane. Now, if you had to live with just one plane for a while before you got another, I don't know if you would go with like I have the small low angle. Yeah. Maybe go with a full size low angle block plane. And I was reading today. What the hell said it? I forget. But they were talking about how all of these modern, not all of them, all of the modern block planes made by like Stanley and Tay Tools and Shop Fox, all these like lower end
Record.
Yeah, they're just junk. They're total. Yeah. They're not even worth having. So again, we always say it: spend the money, get one that's good, because it's going to work. If you get one that's cheap, it's just not going to work that well.
Yeah, yeah, I agree 100% with the the block plane. Get one that's sort of mid-size, so it'll tackle most jobs. I mean, it's a do-all kind of plane for the most part. And for general woodworking. Yeah,
if you're just getting started with hand tools, you're not smoothing surfaces. Right. You're going to be cleaning up an edge. Yeah. Taking milling marks off of an edge, breaking the corners. Stuff
it's easy to control because you can get your whole hand on it and stuff. It's a great choice.
Yeah.
All right.
And then, what order would you buy the rest?
Were we having some technical difficulties there?
Well, we're back.
Did I mention that we were woodworkers and not AV specialists?
Oh, it's the second question?
Yeah.
Oh, well, somebody forgot to plug in the laptop. It wasn't Rob. So we got cut off 22 minutes in.
That was an hour ago.
We're gonna have to fly through these questions. Oh no!
More than an hour ago.
For 20 episodes, we've had very minimal.
Yeah.
Screw-ups.
Today wasn't our day as far as the electronics end of things.
So where we got cut off, we were talking on Alan's question. Yeah. Al about it on Instagram about the chisels and planes. To sum it up. Excuse me, either a mortise chisel or a beveled edge chisel to start, and then find out what you need job by job. If you're going to be cutting through mortises, obviously you want to pick up a mortise chisel. If you're going to be doing dovetails, you want a bevel edge chisel. So go job by job and pick things up that way. So you just fulfill that need for your job. It's the easiest way to sort of build
You'll know what's going on. After you get one thing, you'll feel the need for another thing that it doesn't do.
Yep, exactly.
And we both agreed on a nice block plane, not a tiny one, but something that feels good in the hand.
Yep.
Something that's universal.
Yeah, I think when it got cut off, I was talking about, I was reading something about, all these modern block planes for the most part are really junky and always spend the money on the real deal.
Oh, yeah. And a block plane is a good buy. I mean, under $200, you can get just about anything.
Yep. Then we had a question from Keith K. Kelbecca on Instagram.
Yeah.
See, I got it this time. Rob read it on the unrecorded version of the podcast.
That's right.
What joiner and planer do you use? Shelix?
Yeah. We spoke for quite a bit last week, not yesterday, about the virtues of our 4240 Oliver 10-inch joiner. If we had a bigger one, 12 inches would be cool. We do run into some size limitations. We had to trim some of the boards for this armoire project on the bandsaw. But generally speaking, that thing is as good as gold's.
I'm just thinking to myself, I'm glad I looked over and saw the laptop had turned off.
Right. You said,
we were about to go to the second page of the podcast. I'm like, my laptop, the screen is black.
That doesn't sound right.
Oh, God.
At least we can see it, imagine.
Yeah.
So, and then our planer.
The York Craft 20-inch.
Yeah, we got a generic 20-inch planer. Probably I bought it, 16, 17, 18 years ago for $1,000 or whatever. Brand new. Mm-hmm. Nothing special except we did put a helical head in it.
Yeah, Lux Cut 3 from, I forget the name of the website, woodcutter.com
Yeah,
or something like
was
that.
he up in Canada, that guy, right?
Canada or somewhere like...
north.
Yeah.
North of here.
They sell the Helix and the Lux Cut, all that stuff.
But, I mean, we wouldn't be able to get this planer for the price today because everything's gone up. But
yeah,
for what we have invested in this machine, an entry-level commercial machine, it's great. I mean, we would love something a little bit better, and we probably, if things go as we feel this year, we'll probably upgrade that. If anybody is looking for a beautiful 20-inch, entry-level planer with
it's a workhorse.
Basically a new helical head in it.
Yeah, we just turned the cutters for the first time, so I'd love to get that Oliver 20-inch Oliver in.
Yeah, that's what we have our eye on.
Yeah,
and that's it. We don't really have anything fancy in this shop. I mean, the fanciest in air quotes tool we have is our saw stop. It's got.
Yeah, I mean, we got the Festool stuff, but it's just it's not fancy. It's just good.
Right. We don't have anything like that's doing the work for us.
No.
Yeah, we're pushing all the boards through.
Yeah. Oh, I'd like to get a power feed. We got the next question from Miles Thompson, one of our patrons. He wants to know about our joining process. Well, if you guys can believe it, we had even more problems. Looked up. My computer was off again. So we're going to go back 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We're going to go back 6 questions again. It's from our buddy Miles Thompson. He's one of our Patreon patrons. Miles asking about our joining process. So we just talked about what joiner and planer we use. And now we'll talk a little bit about how we go about joining. So, Rob, what's your methodology?
I do it the old-fashioned way: face, edge, edge. If we have a whole bunch like we have over there on the tables, basically we'll just do the face and then run it straight over to the planer, so we have the parallel surface. And that way, when we bring it back to the joiner, we can, pick the best edge to joint, and then we'll bring it over to the table saw and start with the ripping and things like that.
You might notice we're chawing on some gum right now.
Because our mouth is so dry.
Yeah. Oh, Lord.
This is our third time through.
This has been the cursed number 20 podcast. Yeah, I like to face joint one, face joint. I like to face joint, then plane, and then join an edge. That's just the way I like to do it.
This is the third time we've answered this, so you shouldn't be making any mistakes.
I know, my God. You have 3 different answers for the third go round. Next one's from Randall M. RM Crafts and Customs on Instagram. These questions all seem scarily familiar. What software do you guys use to design your builds, and what do you think you can improve on when using your software?
Well, we use SketchUp. That was our first. I learned SketchUp about 15 years ago. Mm-hmm. Kind of taught you a little bit. You learned most of it from the internet.
Yep.
Then we found out about Fusion 360.
Yep.
That's where you're at right now.
Yeah, so the whole 3D printing thing got me to see the weaknesses in SketchUp.
Yeah.
And then, explored some other options, saw the power of Fusion 360 and decided like, hey, I think this is a really good tool to have in our quiver. So
it's a better program for what we do.
Yeah. I got a reminder, take the shop garbage out. I'd say the biggest thing to improve is using these programs to their full potential. finding the time to learn all the ins and outs. And
I think so.
How to extrapolate different information automatically.
Because we just kind of we're just brushing the surface with these programs.
We're just getting by. We're doing what we need to, but not learning it 100%.
Right, because we're wearing every single hat here in the shop.
Yeah, there's only so much time to devote to.
We go to bed early. We wake up, Jeff really kicks into work early. He's working 5 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah.
Now, I'm thinking about work, but I'm not necessarily doing much work until about 7 o'clock. I'm sort of planning. I'm not really a morning person, but, I'm pretty good. Once I get going, I busted out that drawing this morning.
Yeah. Forgot about that. It seems like a lifetime ago because we're shooting this podcast for a third time. We got our next one here from Neil Tango Golf on Instagram. Those are his initials, by the way. He doesn't like to dance and golf. He may like to do those as well, but that's not what it signifies. Do you have a sharpening routine for hand tools like planes and chisels? This is too funny to doing this for the third time.
Oh, God. Yeah, we do.
So I have a Trend 300,000 grit combo, Diamond Stone. Then I go to a Shapton 5,000, Shapton 8,000, Shapton 12,000, and that's it.
I have the machine. I have the Veritas Mark something or other. It's like a slow speed.
Like a disc.
Yeah, like
disc
a disc sander almost. And it's really like it's perfect for kind of like the entry-level sharpener.
It's quick and dirty.
Exactly. It'll get them sharp, not to shave with, but if I'm working with a chisel and I need that specific chisel and it's getting a little dull, in 5 minutes I can pull out the machine, hone that thing up, and be back at work.
Yep.
So that's what it's good for. It mostly sits around, but probably once a year I break it out and go through all the tools.
Yeah, a couple months ago we all had a day of doing some sharpening. You want to take this next one from Jeff B?
Yeah. Quit my chon. How much skill and knowledge have you gained from books versus a mentor or coworker? That's Jeff B. Jeff Geoferia or Geoferia on Instagram. We've debated that all 3 times.
We still have no answer. I'd say that most of my knowledge is from like YouTube videos and a little bit of books and a little bit of magazines, stuff like that. And just picking up little tidbits from different people. But the bulk of it is sort of self-taught.
I would agree. I learned quite a bit from watching Norm Abrams, like New Yankee Workshop. This is going back 25 years now. Books from the library, Fine Woodworking magazine. And then everywhere you work, you kind of pick up something.
Yeah.
And it doesn't necessarily have to be like I worked in a wood shop and picked this up. I might have been helping some guy do some plumbing work or whatever, and you just pick up a habit or a way to do things. So neither of us have really been lucky enough to be in a formalized program or anything like that. So we've had to teach ourselves through trial and a lot of error.
Yep.
And sharing what we know and having an open mind. And like I like to say, keep your ears open and your mouth shut, and you're going to be better off.
Yeah.
So there you go. What's next?
Is this where we left off last time?
No.
Now I'm paranoid. I keep looking over at my computer, making sure the screen's not black.
It's still on.
Oh, God.
All right. I'll ask this one. Do you foresee any issue with making a 3-inch thick bench top out of various hardwood scraps? I have maple, cherry, walnut, red oak, hickory, and poplar. And is there a brand of holdfast, dogs, clamps, etc. that you'd recommend for the bench? I'm not a big hand tool user. I just want to make the bench more versatile by adding some dog holes. That's asked by Pat D., who's Patrick Dacey on Instagram.
I think we've developed a good opinion on this over the last 3 go-rounds.
Oh, yeah. We're solid.
Think about how much headache you're willing to What? Oh, it's Ridge Carbide ready to send our blades back. About time. Thanks a lot, Ridge. Been a month.
I know. They moved to Kansas without telling us.
We had to borrow a blade from John.
Yeah.
Just consider how much headache you're willing to deal with versus spending a little bit of money on material. You could get yourself some 12 quarter and make a single species top, and you're going to have less worry with different expansion and contraction. If you start to butt these different species together, your top is probably going to implode.
It's going to be a lot of work to flatten.
Yeah.
A lot. All those small pieces.
And then it's going to, they're going to expand and contract at different rates. So you're going to have high spots and low spots. And
yeah.
It's you got to make a compromise somewhere. It's either going to be with the amount of work or the amount of money you spend. So is it impossible? No. But is it worth it? Yeah. Is it worth it? Maybe not. We were saying that, you can maybe add some in as like an accent wood to make the bench look cool.
Be totally cool.
But to glue up thin strips, again, we don't know what kind of material you have. It could be 2 inches wide and 3 inches thick. But yeah, gluing up a bunch of little pieces, probably not a good idea. That's why you don't really see benches made that way.
No.
In terms of dog holes, bench dogs, hold fast, that kind of stuff, make your own wooden dogs.
Yeah. Jeff made mine. Well, he made his, and then he made me some, and he knocked it out of the park. I mean, I just basically threw away the aluminum ones. Yeah,
they're pretty easy to make. It's like two cuts on the table saw and one on the band saw, and then you glue a little thing on. You're good to go.
And you gotta be careful while you're cutting those small parts.
Yeah. You guys missed that part, and we're not going to go back over it.
We can't do it.
Check out Tools for Working Wood. They have a bunch of hold fast and stuff like that. Gramercy, I think, is the brand. Again, I don't have any experience with hold fast, but their stuff looks good. I've heard good things.
All the stuff in Lee Valley, all the regular catalog folks, they have tons of that stuff.
Yeah, get one made by an actual blacksmith, not one. Miles. We just passed your question, Miles. He sent me a funny message on Instagram. Here's our next one from Corey K. Corey R. Kennedy on Instagram. What is your opinion on framed versus frameless cabinets?
Well,
we've developed quite an opinion on this over the course of the last.
The bottom line is it's an aesthetic choice for us. It's not one of economy, and usually frameless cabinets get lumped in with the cheaper, quick and inexpensive way to make something. We design stuff from the ground up, and sometimes a frameless cabinet with an overlay door is going to fit the bill.
Yep.
Modern aesthetic, that's what the client's looking for. We just want to encourage everybody to do things as well as they can, with intention, with integrity, and don't get hung up on any of these other things.
Yeah, if you're not using frameless as a crutch to just knock something out cheaper at a lower level of quality.
Right.
We just do what works for the design. So as long as it's made well, we don't care if it's framed or frameless. We use them interchangeably.
Yeah, I mean, 75-80% of what we do is framed inset doors.
Yeah.
But we go with the flow here.
Yeah.
All right. So the next question is from our good buddy Tim B, True Trade Carpentry on Instagram. And we couldn't decide if Tim was looking for us to come up there and give him a hand in North Jersey, because he asks, travel for work? Would you guys? Have you guys? And how far would you go?
I'd say there's no limit to that distance as long as, the cost of travel is worked into the job. We'll go as far as somebody would be willing to pay us to go.
Yeah. Except for Tim, we'd go up for lunch.
Yeah.
Yeah. Tim, you just,
Got to be good lunch, though.
Tim's a badass. He doesn't need our help.
No, yeah, man. Some of these doors and stuff that Tim's made, insane.
But if he ever did, we'd be there.
Oh, yeah. You bring us up, we'll buy you lunch, Tim.
Yeah. That's crazy talk.
Tim's going to be on the podcast as soon as we start sort of having guests again. So, we're doing our due diligence to keep our circle small right now.
This is the question that we haven't gotten.
Is this
through
the cursed
yet.
question?
Yes,
Alan from Misfit Woodworking. What did you put a hex on this thing?
Yeah.
Because if I look over and my laptop's off again, I'm going to scream. It was rough enough getting started with the camera. Which router bits have you had the best experience with? Amana, Whiteside, CMT, Bits and Bits, or others? And Rob said, I think we use them all. Then I said,
I think the computer went off again.
Oh, God. We have an Amana in the router right now that we did all the sauce stuff with. We've got CMT in the drawer. We've got Bits and Bits and Whiteside. We have Astra-coated Whiteside bits from Bits and Bits.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know if any of them are better than the others. I really like the Astra-coated stuff by Bits and Bits.
Yeah.
That compression flush trim bit is badass.
It is.
Both of them. We have the quarter inch and the half inch.
I think as long as it's high quality, it's sharp, that's kind of it. I mean, it's the same stuff we say all the time. It sounds like we're repeating ourselves, but that's really it. If it's a good quality maker, they're all pretty equivalent.
Yep. Yeah, check out the Bits and Bits. Use coupon code Frank15, our buddy Frank out in San Diego, Carpenter 13.
Yeah. But speaking of blades, I have to, digress just a little bit. We got that phone message just now from Ridge Carbide.
Yeah.
Now we send our saw blades out to get sharpened, and I used to send them up to Dynamic in Buffalo. And, it was a little bit of a big deal to get it all the way up to Buffalo, and it's a slow process. And since Ridge is like 45 minutes away, we say we have the bright idea, let's try Ridge. Let's send our stuff over to Ridge.
We got that Ridge Carbide blade.
Yeah, we have their blades in our machine, so let's do that. Well, it's about a week. Now, this is mid-December we send them out. So last week, we're like, man, where are our saw blades? We needed to swap out the blade. John Peters was nice enough to give us a blade, a CMT. And I called them up. It turns out they moved their entire operation to Kansas. That's not a joke. I had to call Kansas, and they're like, oh, yeah, we're just getting around to start sharpening now. We just finished unpacking everything. Well, what?
Yeah, we sent him out December 15th, and it's now January 20th. He needs the security code on the back of the card to send him out. That's what the voicemail, I just read it. And we got a very interesting email that I'm dying to talk about, but we can't talk about it on.
Okay.
We can't talk about it on air.
Oh.
So yeah, I would say check out Bits and Bits.
All right.
Here's our next one from David A.
This is brand new for the first time today.
The laptop is still on. We're doing okay.
Yeah.
D. Atkins Builds on Instagram. What'll happen next is the fucking power will go out.
Yeah.
Ever had an adjustable shelf not sit level? Used a jig for the holes, but one corner is about 1/32 low.
Yeah. Yes.
Absolutely.
All the time.
Even happens with, boring machines.
Yeah.
So they make these eccentric shelf pins. Personally, I hate the way they look.
Yeah, they stick out like a sore thumb, but they will solve your problem.
Yeah, so you have that as a choice. The other one is to maybe add like a door bumper or something to your shelf where it hits the pin.
Yeah. If
it's a fine piece of furniture, you don't want to do that. I don't know what the hell you're going to do.
Yeah, it depends what the side's made out of. On occasion, even in the plywood cabinet sides, I've plugged that hole and then just come back the next day and re-drill them, because we use those little collars.
Yep.
They'll cover up anything.
Yeah.
But you wouldn't even see it even if you didn't, if it's only a 32nd of an inch. But yeah, I've plugged the holes and re-drilled them. Yeah,
sometimes you can turn the pin. If you have the pins that are flat, you can turn it 90.
That's right. or 180 sometimes is enough with just a little bit. Yeah.
I'd say try any of those out. If it's a solid wood shelf, you can remake the shelf with a taper on it.
Yep.
Taper the side.
I've done that too.
Get crafty.
You know all the ways to fix it.
Yeah.
Now you know that we've done the same thing too.
Yep. If it's like a shop thing, just put a bunch of layers of blue tape there.
Yeah.
All right, on to the next one. We're doing good.
All right.
Pin nailers and brad nailers. Most woodworkers use them in the shop. What is your go-to brand, and what do you look for in these tools?
Oh, yeah.
Pneumatic versus cordless, brushless or not. Does the battery platform play a role in your decision? Thank you for continuing to keep the podcast down to earth. From Randy M. Martin Woodworks 73 on Instagram.
Well, thank you, Randy.
Yeah, thanks, Randy. We're trying. I know we're big stars, but
Yeah.
we're trying to remain humble.
Yeah, our wives keep us in check, believe me.
I mean, it's been tough getting to my truck the last couple of days with paparazzi.
Yeah. Cameras are flashing.
Well, what do we got? We have a in the shop. We have a Porter cable pin nailer and a Bostitch 18 gauge. That's really all we use. I've got a Hitachi pin nailer, a Bostitch 18, and a pass load, regular pneumatic pass load 16 at home.
Yeah. And what about the Grex?
Yeah. And then I also have the Grex GC 1850, which is a gas powered 18 gauge, cordless. And I have the Makita 23 gauge pinner, battery powered.
You worked in the field for a long time, so you have a lot of stuff that, makes it extra handy.
Yeah.
Cordless stuff too. Where me, I haven't left this building in the last 23 years.
At least not for an extended period of time.
No.
I'd say things we look for: dry fire lockout.
Please make it standard.
I don't understand what the point of not having that is. If you're saving money, it can't really be that much. I'd rather just I'd pay an extra $20.
Because the next nailer we get, we will not buy if it doesn't have a dry fire.
I'd like to ditch that Bostitch just because of that.
Because it doesn't.
The pin nailers, especially, you have no clue when you're firing one or when you're not.
No.
Until your piece comes loose and you're like, what the hell?
The one thing I'll say about that Porter cable and the way things are going, I shouldn't even bring it up. But when I bought it a long time ago, because they weren't that plentiful back then, people would say, you got to be careful about which way you put the pins in. They jam all the time. That thing has been a little workhorse.
My only gripe with that is it only takes max 1 inch pins.
Yeah. It's a stubby little thing.
Yeah.
So that's it. I mean, in the shop, we use full air tools.
Yeah, we don't really use the nailers a whole lot.
No.
It's got to be something pretty rough to bust out the nailer.
A lot of times when I'm working by myself, I'm putting a cabinet together, like I'll tack the corners, like the plywood, just so it'll hold it together.
I'm paranoid of nails coming out in the wrong directions.
They always tend to do that, don't they?
Yeah, so I shy away from the nailers when I can.
Yeah.
I'd rather use a pocket hole.
Yeah.
If I'm worried about tacking something together.
We don't use it a lot, actually.
No. We use it on this sauce thing to nail the trim on, but then it's just a hole that has to be puttied. If you're not going to see it, I'll just put a screw in.
Yeah, we try to stay away from making holes where you're going to see them.
Mm-hmm.
That's just one of our little things.
Oh, we go in here from Sal the Carpenter on Instagram. Want to know about the real milk paint clear you used on the next story? I thought they only made paint. So he's referring to the story I put up yesterday. It was after the one asking for the podcast questions. It was me applying some finish to the sauce wall. Mm-hmm. So that's Real Milk Paint Company, dark tung oil. It's a pure tung oil with hydrocarbons added to it that gives it a darker
They say
color.
It's like a naturally occurring resin. We had to look up what a hydrocarbon was.
Yeah, because we're not chemists.
We don't want to come off like we know that much.
So they have the regular pure tung oil and the dark pure tung oil.
Yeah.
So we're using the dark on this. It's like an antiquing look almost.
Yeah.
So it gave the Sapele like a really nice.
It adds
medium
a certain brown.
Brown.
To it.
Yeah. The oil almost looks black.
Yeah. Like a dark corn syrup.
Yeah.
Except not as thick.
Or like oil.
Yeah. Oil. Yeah, that's a good one.
Like engine oil, engine oil. So yeah, their stuff is great, all natural. You could pour it in the grass. It's not gonna
we
hurt
like
anything.
them a lot.
The solvent is just orange peel oil. So you mix it 50-50 or you can buy it pre-mixed. We can finish in the middle of the day. The shop doesn't smell. Actually smells good.
Yeah. Well, so what is he's got the name of the company down, Real Milk Paint. So you can look them up online.
Yeah. They're down in Tennessee.
Yeah.
Small, family-owned company.
Yeah, check it out. And it's real easy to use.
Yeah.
It's real easy.
Wipe it on, wipe it off, come back the next day, do it over again.
Yeah.
Do that as many days as you can stand, and you're good to go.
Right. It's foolproof.
Yeah, it polymerizes.
Yeah.
So it turns into, like a hard finish on the inside of the wood.
Yeah, the non-toxicity of it is a big thing for us.
Yep.
And well, look at this. I didn't even know this next question was coming. This is from Nathan T. Tree of Life.
I put these together. Yeah,
pretty good.
We kind of half answered this question.
Yeah. What made you guys decide to use tung oil for everything? I don't mean that as a critique at all. Well, thank you, Nathan. We didn't even think that.
Yeah, you better not be critiquing us, Nathan. Just kidding.
Yeah, I think we just answered that question. I mean,
yeah, then the eco-friendly nature of the product, the non-toxic nature of it, the ease of application,
and we spend an awful lot of time and effort putting these pieces together to look good in the raw, and without finish on them. I mean, the finish is what highlights it, but we don't use finish to cover anything up, to blend two pieces of disparate wood together.
It's a wind chime going crazy.
Yeah. So the tung oil is perfect because it highlights what we've already done.
Yeah, and I like the feel of a penetrative finish versus a film finish. I want to be able to feel the wood. It is wood, so I want it to feel like wood.
Yeah.
We'll put a coat of wax on stuff to give it a little bit of sheen. Yeah, because the tung oil is a very matte finish.
Right, just soft luster. We never really go for a buffed out car thing.
No. I mean, we're not opposed to it if that's what somebody wants.
Yeah, but it's not our go-to thing.
No.
Yeah. All right, so that was pretty good. That was easy to answer.
I'll read this one because I'm going to hand it off to you because this is more your wheelhouse. How big should a single pedestal base be in ratio to a tabletop? 30 by 72 inch top. From Brad, Ethan or Ithan, Ithan, Creek Woodworks on Instagram.
Wow. Well, there might be formulas for this.
Yeah. Look up the book. I haven't read it yet. I have it. Human Dimension in Design, I think it's called. Yeah. It has all of the necessary information as the human body relates to furniture.
Yeah. Those are great things. I built my share of dining room tables and desks and things like that. And people generally, when they approach you for a job like this, they want to seat X number of people. And it's usually more
than can fit.
So, and then you have to tell them that you can't sit, 24 inches apart and have,
Yeah, this isn't a restaurant in New York City.
Right.
Where the banquette is shoulder to shoulder.
So, we try and fit like 30 inches. That's my rule of thumb. 30 to 36 inches is a comfortable, slot to fit into on a table.
I'd say 30 inches wide for the table. That's pretty narrow.
Yeah. And then you're going to need a foot is minimal for your knees. Mm-hmm. I like to go more like 14 to 16 inches for knee space.
Yep.
So now you're starting to get an idea how big this base can be, like where it's fastening to the table. And that's how I start. It's like, what are my limitations? How is this going to fit with a human body in use? Like past the roast beef, I got my arms out and I'm cutting something.
Yeah, what kind of plates do you have? 30 inches. Right. The plates might be touching it. The people that are sitting across from one another. You're not going to have room for a glass or the salt or food.
Exactly. And then you can kind of use your common sense, so to speak, on how broad the base has to be so that the table's not tipping over.
Right.
If you're leaning on the edge. And a lot of that will have to do with the design of how the base fastens to the table as well.
Yeah, and a single pedestal on a 30 by 72 table, it's going to have to be quite long.
Yeah, it'd have to mirror the shape of the table in some respects.
Yeah.
So I would, I think it's a great time to actually learn about this stuff instead of relying on like a formula or something like that. This is where you'll see the ins and outs of what affects that formula.
Yep.
Because it's not just, you need something that's 6 inches clear here and 12 inches clear there. There's a lot of variables that go into it. So we didn't really answer it completely, but we did give you a good place to look for the information, because that's really what it is. There is no hard, fast answer to that.
And, in terms of aesthetics, once you have your criteria set, like, okay, I need to have this much space, then you can start to see what visually you can fit into that space.
Yeah, and what looks good.
Right.
Because it's got to look good while doing it.
Yep.
All right. We're rolling now.
Oh, yeah.
500-ish budget for a palm sander. Which one, two would you buy? That's from Corey K. Corey R. Kennedy on Instagram.
Well, we've said it once. We'll say it again. Get yourself either the 5 or the 6-inch Rotex from Festool.
That's it.
You're going to be pushing a little closer to $600 for one, but well worth it, I think. It's a very versatile sander.
Yeah. If you can only have one sander, that's the sander. We nominated it as our shop favorite. I mean, we only have Festool sanders here in the shop.
Yeah.
We got 4 of them left. We had a couple that went down for the count.
Yeah.
But we tried most of them. I mean, I still want that Delta.
Yeah.
But the Rotex, hands down, is if you can only have one, go for it.
Yep.
We love it. All right. You want to read the next one?
Yeah, this is from Terraform Woodworking on Instagram. For this project with cherry, do you usually use 100% solid wood, or do you use plywood for the carcass?
Yeah. Terraform. I like that.
I'd say typically we do have some type of plywood casework, but for this, it's going to be it's going to be open most of the time.
Yeah.
This cabinet, it's a coffee bar, like a Mealy built-in coffee maker and a instant hot and chilled water tap. So 99% of the time in these folks' kitchen, it's going to be open so that they have access to these things.
Yeah.
But they want the ability to be able to close the doors when they have company, if there's a mess. So we just thought it would be, easier and look better if the casework was all solid wood. So we'll have a plywood back, which we got some really nice cherry plywood in today for that. But then the rest is all solid wood.
This entire piece
sitting right here
is solid cherry, except for the backs.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, exactly. It's really nice to build cases that way.
Yeah.
And if we're going to go with solid sides, then what happens on the top and the bottom? Then you have to worry about the movement with the sides between the bottom. You go with some kind of a sliding dovetail.
So now everything's going to move in the relatively the same amount.
We're set up to work with solid wood. It's easier for us.
It's just adding a step really to, and because they're flat, the sides are flat. They're not frame and panel. So to do a plywood carcass on the inside would just be adding a step and adding thickness and material costs and time and this and that. Just kind of like with the frameless, we do what makes sense. So this case, all solid wood makes sense. So that's what we're doing.
Right. Exactly. Saw stop. A saw stop question. With the sliding crosscut table, is it worth the upgrade? This is a question from one of our patrons, Dustin F.
Fair, like mayor.
Fair, yeah. or with my Brooklyn, Texas accent, fair.
I'd say if you're going to get the saw stop, spring for the extra money and get it. We use it every day.
We do.
It's great.
It's
not without its own little quirks, but it's better than a miter gauge.
It's not perfect, but it's better to have it.
I've yet to find a perfect tool, so they're doing pretty good over there at SawStop.
So we're going to say yes, it is worth it.
Yeah.
All right.
Here's one from another patron, Rich M. One of our newest patrons. Rich is the gentleman that sent us those Pikas a couple weeks ago.
Oh, yeah.
Was that last week? Last week.
That's my main pencil now.
Yeah. Rich wants to know, I'm trying to decide on whether or not to spend the annual fee for SketchUp Pro. How much do you use cut lists, or do you keep track of cabinet pieces another way? This really ties into the earlier question from Randall. We don't get our cut lists from
SketchUp Pro.
No, we're kind of pulling those out manually from SketchUp.
Yeah.
But we definitely want to figure out how to do that on SketchUp and Fusion that way.
Right.
But I'd say if you're going to pay for something, I understand if you're SketchUp really well and you want to stick with that, but look into Fusion or something like that. Maybe see if you're going to spend money, get something that's more powerful. Maybe. Yeah,
I agree. We pull our cut lists off. The cut list isn't really that big, and by the time you have the drawings there, the cut list is just it's 10 minutes of pencil work.
Yeah.
We like to work from the pictures.
Yeah, I'm not sure. Who knows what we got on tape and what we didn't, and what the hell we talked about and what we didn't. But we're saying we just kind of build intuitively. The numbers are just there as a reference, and the overalls are all we got to hit.
Show us the picture.
Yeah, if you're building doors and you're supposed to have the drawing show a 3-inch style and it ends up 2 and 15, well, you can't follow the numbers anymore. So you just got to look at the overalls and work off of that.
Exactly.
This isn't a scientific lab, and not everything works out perfectly.
Especially on like something like the coffee bar, the armoire. It's a one-off piece, so it doesn't have to match anything, Yeah,
and if it's supposed to be 48 and it ends up 47 3/4, well,
right. You go with the flow because sometimes the wood isn't going to yield it.
Right.
There may be a defect that disallows it. So we're pretty laid back with that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Oh, I know mistakes are inevitable in woodworking, but what mistakes did you find yourself making less and less of as you grew as craftsmen over the years? In other words, what mistakes should we aspiring woodworkers be looking to grow out of? That's from Adam P. And this is 3 patrons in a row.
Yeah, we got even more.
The wind is going crazy.
I know, yeah. I saw 22 miles an hour. It's a tough question because at least I try not to dwell on my mistakes, so they don't really jump out to me at first. I'd say like sort of those transcription errors and simple math errors and stuff. Those are really where something simple can turn into a big problem. So if you can learn how to, check your work and just stay on top of, accurately transcribing information, you're going to save a lot of headaches.
That's a biggie. Moving numbers around from one spot to the next. It's so easy to make a mistake. That's why I sort of started going to like measuring sticks, like for doors and things like that. If I have several openings, I'll cut a stick and I'll write on it, this is the opening to, cabinet 12, opening 3. And then I'll just know, and I can have it with me. I don't have to worry about, is that 24 7/16 or 11/16? I can't remember.
I know a guy that used to cut little sticks up like that.
Yeah.
And stack them all next to each other.
Yeah. Well, I throw mine away after the job's done. But transcription errors.
Yeah.
And I think the more of a singular mistake you make, the more you learn to grow out of it. So whatever it is that you're doing now that you wish you weren't, that's what's gonna happen.
And mistakes, they're gonna happen.
We make mistakes all the time, but we're really good at backtracking and fixing them.
Yeah,
that's the thing that, and I think with that confidence, actually there are less mistakes.
Yep.
It's not very nerve wracking because we know, hey, I made this from scratch anyway. I can fix it.
Yeah, yeah.
It's like the old parent. I brought you into this world.
I'll take you out. Right. We got another patron question here from Alec M. Alhead Woodco.
Yeah.
On Instagram. Chasing perfection. I'm not the only one to over obsess about things that probably don't matter. Getting square cuts to within 1/1000th of an inch. Making sure your tools are set up, not just good enough, but perfect, etc. How far do you feel you should chase something to be perfect when it really doesn't matter in the end result, in both projects, tool setup, and other aspects of woodworking? Or is it worth just accepting the, quote, if it's straight frame of mind?
Yeah, well, you know what they say about the Parthenon.
What's that? No
straight lines in there.
Yeah.
Because it looks straight. And I wonder if that's what he's asking, Does it look right? If it looks right, it's right.
Right. If it's not straight, but it all looks straight? Does it really matter if it's you put a $300 straight edge on it and it's perfectly straight?
Right.
I don't think so.
No. And as we say here lots of times, we're not building the space shuttle
or the Japanese satellite. Wood is an organic material. It's 1,000th of an inch. You're gonna cut it, and then tomorrow you come back. It's different. It's not the same. It's if it's straight, it is straight. That's the way I see it.
Yeah. We do chase perfection here, but
Absolutely.
within reason.
Yeah.
I mean, we're always working our hardest to do our best.
Right.
But we understand the limitations of ourselves, of the material we work with, and that's just the truth of it. So don't obsess. That's our advice. Because strive.
You're right. You could have a job and you do everything to the book, everything dead square, perfectly 90, straight as an arrow. And then you get to the end and it still didn't make a difference because something happened. The wood moved and you're going to feel so defeated because I felt that way before because I am a perfectionist and I'm super conscious of all this stuff. So it's not worth the hassle. Just make it right. Yeah. You don't have to chase these insane numbers. We're not working with metal on a mill where we're talking about thousandths of an inch.
That's right.
If you're within a 1/28th or a 64th, usually you're good enough.
Yeah, you can't, and we can see slight discrepancies with our eye because we've just been doing it for so long. So we know if something's not right.
Yeah, and put a set of calipers or a straight edge on any piece of furniture that you come across. Nothing's perfect.
No,
it's not if it's made out of wood, at least.
Yeah. All right. I hope that was good advice.
Yeah.
I did graduate high school in Texas, so I think I'm qualified to read this next.
Yeah, this is overflow from last week. I missed it. If I ever miss your question, it's not because it didn't make the cut. It's because I forgot. So just let me know.
Yeah. Yeah. So this is from Chip H. 2 Chipped on Instagram, and he's from Georgia, so he asks, what are y'all's thoughts on opening up hardwood? They say y'all in Texas too.
Yeah.
And you know what else they say in Texas? I'm fixing to do this.
I say that sometimes, kind of like a little bit tongue in cheek.
So what are y'all's thoughts on opening up hardwood? Whether ripping, planing, cross-cutting, basically opening it up to a fresh oxygen after shop acclimation. Man, I'm having a hard time here. Do you open it up on all 6 sides and let it rest overnight? Or do you go right into the sizing that you need? And if you're not using an oil, going from an unconditioned shop into a low humidity home?
We touched on this a little bit before.
Yeah.
We may have got, I don't know.
We don't know what version made it.
Yeah, or if it made it at all. We do. We will open it up on all 6 sides. So we'll rough cut it. Sometimes we rough cut and then don't joint until the next day, but that's just like a timing thing usually.
Yeah.
So we'll rough cut it, joint it, plane it. I'd say that. Yeah, I'd say that typically it's more like 4 sides. The edges might not get touched.
Right.
So we'll cut the ends, join a face, plane the other face, then sticker it up.
Yeah.
Wait at least overnight.
Mm-hmm.
Then come in, start to bring it down to final thickness.
Yeah, it's what we did with this cherry here. We rough cut it, face jointed it, and of course you have to mark everything, all the pieces, because we don't just grab boards and just join them and create these long, wide boards.
Yep.
We first select all the wood that we're going to use for which part. We have our drawings. We go through. We pick it out. We put a letter designation on it. Rough cut it, face join it, plane it, sticker it, and then repeat the next day.
Yep. Yeah, and if you don't know like what Chip is getting at, basically when you take the rough surface or even just the top surface, the outside surfaces of these pieces of wood are the driest out of it all. The very core of the wood has the highest moisture content because that's just the way it works. It just evaporates from the inside out.
Right.
So when let's say you take a board and you just face join it and leave it to sit, it's going to cup.
Yeah.
Because now you have one side that's very dry, the side that didn't get touched, and the other side that's very not very wet, but it has a higher moisture content than the opposite side. So it's going to cup, I guess the bow will be towards the dry side. Yeah. So something that we try and do is if we take 2 passes on the joiner to clean the face, we want to try and take 2 passes on the planer.
Yeah.
So that we're taking an equal amount off. So we end up with equal moisture content on both of those faces. You're less likely to get a cup.
Maintain equilibrium as best as you possibly can, within reason.
Yeah.
So he wants to know, are we worried about it if you're not using an oil going from an unconditioned shop into a low humidity home?
We have a conditioned shop, so it's not really.
We're living a privileged life.
Yeah. Well,
no, that's a joke.
We do it for the wood, really.
Exactly.
We could live with the being colder and hotter, but it just makes life a little easier. But we build things sort of worst case scenario anyway. Mm-hmm. You have to use sound joinery and construction techniques to ensure that the piece is going to withstand these swings in humidity.
Yeah. I remember, it was maybe 15, 14 years ago, I built these big sliding doors in a bedroom. They were probably like 9 feet by 4 feet. And they were maple, and they were running horizontally, and they had like aluminum strips in there. It was sort of a design feature, and also it's kind of like an expansion joint. And the homeowner went away.
You told me this.
In the winter, it was in the wintertime up in Hoboken, and he turned his heat down to like 50 because he didn't want to do it. And so then he comes home, cranks the heat up, and one of the doors split.
Oh.
He called me up, and I'm like, and he says, "Oh yeah, I think I got a little crack in one of the door." And I was a little bit incredulous, thinking, "No." And then so he sends me a picture. Now he didn't tell me this. He didn't give me the backstory until I fixed it. And I'm like, "Oh, okay."
Yeah. Thanks a lot, buddy. That makes me think we should put something in our scope of work letter that mentions the necessity to keep a consistent humidity.
Yeah, because it really, it'll have an effect.
Oh, yeah.
So Chip knows what he's talking about.
Yeah.
Thanks for your question, Chip.
Yeah. Well, let's keep this train rolling. We got to do the Patreon show, too. It's getting late. I got places to be. I got a wife that's going to be mad. What'd you think about the beer?
I can't remember it.
It's like 2 hours ago.
It was good.
Yeah, it was good.
It was really good. Pipeworks, any other name. I guess, Rose by any other name. That's the play on words. It was brewed and bottled in Chicago, Illinois. And it was a Saison, which I think this was my first one.
Yeah, I'm not, Saison, not on the top of my list of styles that I like the most, but.
It was very light, I thought.
They're a little funky, they have that, not wild yeast, but that kind of funky Belgian-y kind of yeast thing. It
was good. If I showed up at a party and they had that in like a cooler with some other ones, I might grab it.
Yeah. If it was a little colder, I think I would have liked it better.
Yeah.
Well, we'll have that tool of the week down in the description.
Yeah.
Of the podcast and the YouTube version of the podcast. Check us out on YouTube. We got more videos coming out all the time. Trying to make it a point to film what we're doing so we can
broaden our horizons.
Yeah. But hey, episode 20
in the books.
Yep.
Finally.
As difficult and painful as it was. Look, the laptop is still on.
It's still on. Third time's the charm, they say.
For now.
Yeah.
We'll see all you patrons in the Patreon after show. If you guys want to help support the podcast, head over to our Patreon. We do a little after show every week, 30, 45 minutes of, we talk about all kinds of stuff, woodworking, other stuff.
Yeah, Banana Revolution.
Yeah.
Yeah, all kinds of big news going on.
Mm-hmm.
All right, well, you guys be safe out there, and thank you very much.
We'll see you next week.
Ciao.